Welcome to Victoria's Stars. I'm Victoria Schneps, the publisher of the Home Reporter, the Brooklyn Spectator, the Spectator News, and in Queens, the Queens Couriers. So I am thrilled today to be able to bring you some important information and a wonderful woman who, like me, works very hard to make things happen. So please meet Tara Buonocore-Rut.
Hi, Vicki. Thank you for having me
Welcome.
today.
Welcome.
Thank
so
you.
happy that you can steal away to take some time out and talk a little bit about what you do. So I got to know you when AgeWell was born. And I was so impressed when I went to your offices about a month or two ago. I said, wow, look what you have created. So talk to me a little bit about the purpose of AgeWell, because how old is the service that you provide?
Sure. So AgeWell is a managed long-term care plan, and we are just over 2 years old. And the purpose of a managed long-term care plan, the full name of the plan is AgeWell New York. We provide care management services and arrange for and coordinate services for our members. So let me give you an example. There may be someone living in the community that needs help with either bathing or dressing or meal preparation, and they might not have family that can help with them, help them prepare their meals, or go grocery shopping, or even give them a bath and help them dress. And what we do is we will send a nurse into their home to assess what needs they need, and we will provide those services through licensed agencies and aid vendors that provide personal care services and home health care services.
So do people usually, after they've been in a hospital setting, then get home and see that there's a need? Because people buy long-term health insurance. Is this different than, I pay a policy for my long-term care insurance.
This is different than long-term health care insurance. The eligibility really for this plan, members are typically, they have to have Medicaid. Okay, so community Medicaid. So these are people who have limited financial resources, clearly. And they have to have some sort of health care need to make them eligible to be on our plan. So this is very different because there's a strong care management function to our plan. So what does that mean? That means when someone enrolls into our plan, they get a nurse or a social worker that functions as their care manager. And this position helps the member navigate through the healthcare system.
So how does somebody know that they can do this? I mean, who guides them to you? Or do you reach out to find the people that you can serve?
People come to us many different ways. People may come to us through our healthcare provider network. So we are an insurance plan, and we have a contracted network of providers. And so we have many, many providers who are all qualified to be in our network. So many people come to us because they're referred by one of our providers. There's also, New York State has an enrollment broker called New York Medicaid Choice. And so people who need this service can contact New York Medicaid Choice and choose to enroll in AgeWell, or they can make an inquiry to AgeWell about whether or not they'd be eligible. And then we also have community outreach associates in the community that provide all different types of services and education to educate potential members about the benefits.
So you mean you actually have people who are able to speak to groups? For instance, we work with a lot of senior citizen centers.
Absolutely.
Are a large percentage of your people you help in the senior age? Is that a largest bulk, or people who are disabled? I mean, how does it work out?
Typically, the majority of our members, they all have Medicaid, okay? And many of them are dually eligible, and that means that they have Medicare and Medicaid. So they're typically...
Now, how could that be, that someone can have Medicare and Medicaid?
If someone is 65 years of age or older, they can qualify for Medicare.
Right.
And then if they meet the financial eligibility, they can qualify for community Medicaid and then be eligible
That's
to our
interesting.
plan.
I thought you could have one or the other,
No.
but you can do both.
You can do both.
Okay.
And what our plan does is that we provide care management services, and that's something that I think is really, crucially important, because it is so difficult, even if you know people in the industry. I mean, I've worked in healthcare for now 10 years, and I know, you know, a significant amount of people. And when I was going through the healthcare system, trying to navigate for my grandmother who was in need of services, it was difficult. It was difficult, and I wish I had someone to call and say, you know what, can you tell me what agency to go to? Can you help me? So we're not just, we're the care management, and we're a resource for families. We're a resource for adult children who might be really struggling to find out how to keep mom in her home, or what to do with her. You know, she might have fallen and now she needs help. You know, how do we help her?
That's very interesting. So if you have Medicare or Medicaid, you've got to have the combo in order to be able to have, I assume they're free services. Are they paid by insurance?
They're paid by Medicaid,
But
yes.
you don't have to pay any kind of
No, not
fee, any kind of insurance payment for this. It's something that is able to be gotten if you are identified as that.
Correct. So if you have
person.
Medicare and Medicaid, and you have personal care needs, that says that you need help in order to live safely in your home, in your community, you can qualify. Okay, and we would send a nurse to your home and assess whether or not you truly qualify. You know, if that you actually need these services, and then once you enroll in the plan, we actually assume the Medicaid benefit.
Okay.
For that member, so that we get paid by New York State
So
to
they just
provide
take it
those
out.
services.
They take that out of your Medicaid
Correct.
payments?
Well,
each month?
it would be in lieu of. So if someone had Medicaid now and they needed home care, they used to be able to go directly to the agency or go through you know, state-sponsored agencies. That's no longer.
Define as? You know, I mean, that's
Well,
but how does the
realistically, it's no longer, that system's no longer available.
Okay.
Okay,
We don't have to worry about
everyone, we don't have to worry about that. If someone needs services, needs home care, and has Medicaid, AgeWell is an option for them. AgeWell New York is definitely an option. So we will go and assess their needs, and if they qualify and they agree to enroll, we will coordinate their services. So what does that mean? That means if they need transportation to doctor's appointments, if maybe they need adult daycare, if they
So
need...
in other words, you become almost like the caretaking agency that will guide them through getting the services that they need.
And making sure if they have any problems receiving their services, we take on that responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility, and we're really good at it, I have to say. That's really the difference with AgeWell. AgeWell New York is that our it's really the people that make the plan successful, I have to say. We have a really unique, diverse, you know, and hardworking team.
How many languages do they speak? We talk about diversity,
over in the office presently over 30 languages.
Wow.
So
That's fabulous.
very diverse staff, really dedicated. They're all professionals. You know.
How did it come to be born? Because I know, you know, our relationship with Parker Jewish Institute and how they had been,
Absolutely.
you know, doing these services for people in the facility. So what was this, Michael, as the executive director, the president, how did he come up with this wonderful service idea?
I started with Parker 10 years ago, and on the executive team at Parker Jewish Institute for Healthcare and Rehabilitation, which is a post-acute care provider in Queens and servicing members in Nassau and Brooklyn as well. And there was a real fundamental shift in the way Medicaid was going to pay for services for people in the community. And that shift happened several years ago, about 2011. And that's really when, AgeWell started being contemplated, because there was going to be this shift in how people could get their services. And they could no longer get their home care services, which home care was a major part of the Parker Jewish Institute, post-acute care system. And the only option was to form a new entity, and that's where AgeWell New York. So Parker is one of the founding members of AgeWell New York, and that was really the impetus and why it was so important to form this new entity, to be able to continue its mission, continue its mission to.
Does that mean that all these home care agencies are going to have trouble operating on their own?
Well, the agencies have now, for the most part, become participating network providers
So
of
that,
these
in other words,
managed
you
care
would call
plans.
on them
Correct.
to say that I have a
Right.
client. Is it called a client or a patient? How do you?
It's a member. It's
A
our member.
Okay.
Our member, yes.
Well, listen, if Target can call the people coming into the store guests,
Right. Right.
we've got to watch the lingo and know
It's
that's
very
right.
true.
So the members now would be getting that home care agencies that they might have gone to directly through their membership with you. Is
Correct.
that?
Correct.
Am I getting it right?
You are absolutely getting it right. So we would coordinate. We contract. We have a contract with that provider, and then we would arrange for those services. We would authorize those services for that member to receive, and then we would handle all of the coordination and arranging. So if
Give
they
me a
needed
success story.
a success
you know,
story,
think of
we've really had many. I can think of members who, were completely isolated in their homes, okay? And then they came into the plan and we worked with them. It took several months to work with them.
Now, if somebody's in their home, they're not being discharged from the hospital, they're home, how would they know about you?
Maybe
through
their
your
family
advertising
members.
or through your,
Yes, through our outreach activities. Maybe a provider, maybe their adult children, maybe someone in their family. Many people who are elderly, they don't want to leave their house. They don't know what options are available for them.
Right.
So through working and building the relationship with the care management team, because every member has someone at the plan that they can build a relationship with, and I think that's really important.
I'm almost thinking of the entry point. How do they get through those doors to you?
So they could, they can. If someone's interested, they can visit our website at www.agewellnewyork.com, all spelled out. They can call our toll-free number at 866-586-8044.
Say it one more time, because that's important for people to know.
That's very important. 866-586-8044. That's our toll-free number. Again, they can look us up on the website, or they can call New York Medicaid Choice.
So give me a chance of, an example of somebody who you start to say, and I interrupted you. Sorry about that, but to be able to give someone an example of somebody who has come to you and the kind of need they had, or how they, were able to be helped.
Well, we've had, like I was saying, we've had many members who they're afraid to leave their home. They're afraid to leave their home. They're afraid of falling. They're not able to navigate the transportation system. So that causes some members to be isolated. Okay, and isolation is not good for anyone. It's not always good to be cooped up in your house. Okay, so we can either send services into their home and provide those services in their home, or we've had many members that go to adult daycare programs, okay, so they can get out of their house, socialize with their peers, and do things to orient them back into the community. We've had people who had different levels of dementia that we were able to provide services for them. Many of our success stories really revolve around caregivers and supporting caregivers, because it's very overwhelming for a caregiver, especially if you have a mother, father, an aunt or uncle that has some sort of dementia, and they are resistive to care, and they're hard to care for. So we can help. We can help those people. We can help those people. We're an outlet for, helping caregivers as well as the members. And even if someone doesn't have Medicaid, we can act as a resource for them, because if they call us, we can help them start the process to see if they're even eligible for the Medicaid program.
So in addition to the Medicare, Medicaid, someone who just has Medicare can get services from you.
They wouldn't, and not until they actually are on Medicaid. But we can help them to start
make the
that first.
transition?
Yeah, it's the Medicaid application process is not easy. So we can help them navigate that. I mean, we really try and pride ourselves on being a resource for not just the member, but for their families and for anyone. I mean, if we have people who routinely call us for advice and saying, "Oh, I don't know about this. I'm not unsure about that." Let me know what to do, and we'll do that, routinely.
Was that something that you, even as a kid, what do you think drove you in this field? Was there something in your life? I mean, I loved my first grade teacher, so I know that's why
I always had a
teacher.
very strong bond with my grandparents. So I always knew I wanted to work with seniors, and even when I worked in the nursing home, I loved it. I loved interacting with the residents and the patients and getting to know them, and that's something that we try to do at AgeWell, because yes, we have thousands of members at this point, thankfully, and it's really trying to encourage all of our staff to get to know these members on a personal level, so that this way you can build a relationship and they trust you.
So when you were in high school, did you do volunteer work with them?
I did volunteer work in nursing homes.
There you go.
Yeah, I
That's
did.
really
And then
in your blood.
we had a very strong family life, like I said, and my grandparents were a huge influence. We had always was with them, and doing activities and having dinners with them. So they were always a very large influence in my life.
It's a big challenge today, I think, for families to have dinner together. When we grew up, it was just normal. That's what you did.
Absolutely.
And how are you able to juggle your personal life? You have family?
I do. I have a husband and two young girls.
Oh, girls. Okay, how old are they?
5 and 3.
Oh, they're little.
They are little, and they're beautiful and wonderful. Yes.
I have a 5 and 3-year-old living with me, my grandchildren. So they are a beautiful age. They're just so precious, like the whole world is opening up to them.
It's very true. It's wonderful. I'm extremely blessed. I have a very supportive husband who is wonderful, and I have a really supportive family. And
do they help you with the babysitting?
They do. My mom actually helps me a great deal, watching them and shuffling them all around. So I'm very fortunate.
So do you use a nursery school, or what do you do?
Well, my oldest daughter's in kindergarten, and she attends an after-school program there.
Right.
And
how we women manage, right?
Yes, it's the primary full-time job. It's the primary full-time job. And then my little one is in preschool. She goes to a preschool. That is wonderful for her.
So who does the cooking? Don't tell me you do the cooking,
well,
too.
I do some cooking on the
That's too
weekends,
much.
but I have to say my husband does a lot. My husband is a trooper and is really supportive, and but you have to have flexibility, and we're a really great we're a great pair. We balance each other out. So.
Well, I think that's the key to success in a marriage, is to having that balance and being able to be flexible and to compromise.
That's very true.
Right, because it's, so where do you steal time for you?
Well, here and there, there's not a lot of time. I mean, when I'm not with my children, I'm working, and when I'm not working, I'm with my children, and that's really where my attention
I'm a big
is.
advocate that, in business, we are mothers, wives, career ladies, and where do we take time to nurture ourselves, to keep the strength of all the things you do to carry on? So do you have anything that you do to nurture yourself or recharge your batteries?
I exercise. I mean, that's probably the one thing that I do. I exercise every morning, and it gives me what I need to get through the day.
Well, I do that too. I swim every morning. And I think that doing that is not just for the body, it's also for the mind.
It absolutely is.
What time do you go to sleep?
I don't know, probably like between 10 and 11, 11 and 12, something in there.
And you get up at 6?
Sometimes earlier, sometimes later, it depends.
Yeah, because it's really, I think that's our challenge. I think most people run around sleep deprived. Because, how do you, get in your 6 o'clock, and yet you can't quite go to sleep at 10 o'clock.
Yes. And I have very unique children who love to sleep late during the week and not on the weekends. So you can't even catch up on the weekends.
Oh, that's terrible.
So, yes.
That's not fair.
Yes.
You got to turn them around.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
yeah. But, I guess in the morning you've got a routine going.
Yes.
So they have to be out the door with you.
They're out the door, and yes, as soon as I get home, they're up and out of bed, and we have a very good routine in the morning. And then my older daughter goes to kindergarten, and I'm able to drop her off in the morning, which is wonderful because we get some, quality time in the morning, just her and I, so that this way it's really important to have that alone time with each of them, just so that they, you can interact with them one-on-one instead of, both of them together and fighting or doing whatever their sisters do. So it's wonderful.
Girls.
I have 2 girls. Yes,
okay.
which is wonderful.
Well, I think girls are special, but boys are easier. You should try another one.
Well,
You don't think so?
No, not right now.
Right, right. Well, you got a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
So I think that, in terms of, your career and your getaway, do you take vacations?
We try to get away. We try to get away here
Mm-hmm.
or there. It's important. We force ourselves to go on vacation.
Well, I think I was just reading where one company says if you don't use your vacation time,
You lose
you're
it.
going to lose it because they really feel so strongly that you must take that for nourishment of yourself. And it's so easy to say, "Oh, I can't."
Well, there's always something that can be done. But I was just speaking with a colleague. You can work till midnight, and this work's still going to be there. So are you going to do that every night? So although you work hard, it is very important to take time out and that balance. I don't know if I'll ever be able to have that balance, but it's something that I do strive for.
Well, I think if you work at it, it's possible to achieve it. If it's not even in your consciousness, then it makes it so much harder. So at least you have it somewhere in that back of your head. And maybe your kids force you to do it too.
I'm cognizant that I need it.
So,
At least I'm cognizant of that I
all
need
right.
it.
Well, now you have all these members that are getting services. I think they have blending their time. I don't know what the services are in terms of this, people's lifestyles, people who come to you and are needing your help. Part of it is how do you help these people psychologically? Is there a piece of that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's an essential part of care management. It's understanding, there might be people who, are just, they need to talk more and they need to, be counseled. So we can always arrange for social workers or different types of behavioral health, professionals to be at the disposal of these members and to arrange for those services. Because the psychological piece affects the medical piece, so they're so very interconnected.
Yes.
For as a plan to not address that as much as we do the medical piece and the clinical piece, it would be to our detriment and really to our members. So we make sure that if people need the services, they get the services, and that's really.
Well, I think at Parker, do you have an Alzheimer's unit? Where, that seems to be a big, growing group of people that are needing sensitive care in the Alzheimer's stages.
Absolutely. So Parker has a couple of options. So in the nursing home, in the nursing facility, there is a unit specifically designed for residents with Alzheimer's disease and all sorts of dementia and cognitive impairments. And the staff on those units are specifically trained to be able to address those needs, and because we really try to train the staff to manage behaviors as much as possible, because many times people with different types of dementia have challenging behaviors. So we really need to prepare those staff to be able to deal with them. We have different types of programs because many people with dementia may wander in the evening. So we have a lot of different programming specifically tailored to members with dementia. We also have a social daycare program specifically geared again for those with dementia, which is another avenue for caregivers to have that respite, because it's very difficult, as I mentioned before, for caregivers who are dealing with parents or friends or relatives that have dementia. It's very taxing. So we want to. So this social daycare program provides support for them, so that this way they can drop off their loved one at the center and know that they're going to be cared for in a loving and safe environment.
Safe is the magic word right now.
And make sure that and then they can go to work or go to a play or do something for themselves.
How many hours are they able to be at the center then?
It really depends on the needs of the member, and it's very flexible at that center.
So in other words, it's enough hours that a person can go to work and come back?
Yes.
One of the things that, because of that terrible loss of this child, Devante, who had autism, but it's not dissimilar to people who are with dementia or Alzheimer's, we were talking about, and I think Schumer put a bill in, about having some kind of identification. It's almost like Could you, what do you think about embedding somebody with some kind of GPS kind of thing?
Well,
that
I don't know about
be able
that, but
to
there are safe return
protect them?
bracelets that are available. That I know that's something that we offer to our members that have dementia or at risk for wandering. In order to, they might one day get out of their homes and not have someone with them, but if they're wearing this bracelet will be able to locate them. That's definitely an option that's available. I don't know about putting some sort of GPS chip in someone. I mean, I guess that is an option, but I know that there's less invasive, sorts of technology out there.
So tell me, what has been the most fun for you in your new career at AgeWell? I mean, you created this entire company. What's been the best feeling for you?
The best feeling is I've had the opportunity to build a really great team, and that's really it's picking my team one by one, people that I credit with myself being able to note the character in someone. So I am able to assemble teams that are cohesive and very functional and that just get the job done. So really, AgeWell is not as much a tribute to me, but a tribute to really the team that's involved, because it's a really dynamic, great group of people that I get to work with, and it's fun. It's work, and it's challenging, but it's also a really nice group of people that I spend a lot of time with. So they have to be good people.
We work with are our second families, but I do believe that the key in a great leader is having great people around them. And I see that you're not afraid to have great people around you.
No, not at all.
Your star shines brightly with whomever you're with. So I think you've been very wise in choosing a wonderful staff. So I wish you great luck and fortune in this continuing AgeWell need to provide this service. It's so critically important to people's lives.
I thank you so much
for having me. And I thank you for
me.
being with me today.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, that wraps up our interview today with Tara, and I just want to thank you for being with us. And I hope that you've learned something about how you can protect your loved ones. And AgeWell is certainly one of the finest ways to make sure that they have the best care that is available. And I know that Tara will be here to answer questions and to be able to serve you when she gave you the phone numbers of where you can find out some more information. So thank you, and God bless. Good night.